When you talk about how it is, you keep it how it is. So things never change because all the cells in your body and your brain are constantly listening and showing you the things that you are saying accordingly. The world will always reflect back to you everything that you believe to be true. So if you believe that all of these things are falling apart in your life and things don't go your way, and that's just the way that it is, this will continue like a vicious cycle to show itself over and over and over to you. If you've ever felt like you were destined for more, you're in the right place. It's time to break out of the box you've been placed in. The world is waiting for your light. Hey there, it's Agnes. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Mindful Living with Agnes T, where we explore all things expansion. This is all about elevating your mind, elevating your life, and stepping into the best version of yourself. I recently read a quote that said, and I have it here written down, it's by Robin Sharma. He said, "Everything is always created twice, first in the mind and then in reality." Think about that for a second. Everything is created first in our mind. So when you think about things that exist in our world, somebody had to think of that before it became real. Like airplanes and cars and any inventions, any items, any things that we use, furniture, were just a concept at one point. Somebody thought about it, maybe more than one person thought about it, and then it became real through a process of different steps that had to take place. And now we see them as real things that we can touch and feel. But we forget that it just once existed as just a concept, and somebody had to create it. Think about your own ability to imagine something and create something. You know, sometimes I say, like, there's a lot of people out there that are dumber than you, they're uglier than you, and they're making a lot more money than you. The truth is that any one of us can tap into this field of creation through our own minds, through our own imagination. So that if you can imagine yourself living a life that's different than the one that you have now, then that means that it's possible for you. That means that that version of you, that reality, already exists in an invisible place that you need to line up with, and you can access it so that it becomes the real reality that you're living. If it was impossible for you to have it, or if it was impossible for you to create it, you would not be able to conceive of it in your mind. The fact that you're able to conceive of it in your mind, the fact that you're able to think about it, the fact that you're able to imagine it, means that it is possible for you to have. One of the most disempowering things that you can ever say or think is, "That's just the way it's always been," or "That's just the way I've always been," or "That's just the way it is," or "That's just the way I am." This cuts you off completely from a source of creativity and creation, because you're putting yourself in a stagnant place and you're essentially lying to yourself, because that's completely untrue. Just because you are a certain way, because that's the way you've always been, does not mean that moving forward that you need to continue to remake that same choice. Every moment of every day is a new beginning and a new chance for you to declare who you wish to be right now moving forward. And it doesn't matter how. People get stuck in the how, like, well, I wish to be confident, and I wish to be a millionaire, and I wish to be all of these different things, but I don't know any of the steps that I need to take to get there. And so a lot of people get stuck in that how, to the point where it stops them from moving forward and taking the next steps. So what you need to remember is that the how is completely irrelevant to you. You don't need to know the how. The how will show itself. It will reveal itself as you're moving down the road of the journey to the destination that you've declared that you're going towards. So all you need to know is what you want and who you wish to be. And stop saying things like, that's just the way I've always been. Because you decide. You decide here and now. It doesn't matter what anybody has ever told you. It doesn't matter all the things that people told you growing up, or friends, or family, or good-meaning people that were trying to protect you, but they tell you things that are just false. And none of those things matter. Any of the things that anyone ever says to you, or about your dreams, or about your path, it's not a reflection on you at all. It's just a reflection of where they are in their realities. We all have our own personal reality. And just because something is true for somebody, and just because something didn't work out for somebody, so they tell you, don't pursue that dream. Don't even bother thinking that you're going to be this and that and the other thing, because it didn't work for them, because they gave up on their dream, or other people around them gave up, and they're using that as proof that it doesn't work. But the truth is that that is just a reflection of where they are in their reality, and has no meaning on your reality, and where you choose to put your time and focus and attention, and where you choose to move and grow in the direction of whatever is in your mind as yours. So you have to get really clear on what it is you want and who it is that you want to be. Like, if money wasn't a factor, if the people in your life weren't a factor, if none of the circumstances that are true in this past moment, because it's already in the past. Like, if it's true for you now, that means that's all been manifested from your past. So you can choose to focus on a future if you stop paying attention to what is going on right now, and declare that, okay, that's my past. Moving forward, things are changing. Moving forward, I decide. Moving forward, I choose. I design my avatar, my person, my body, my mind, my surroundings, where I live, where I travel, what my relationships look like. I make the conscious choice to design these things carefully and with intention, so that you can sit down with a piece of paper and a pen, and you can literally create the reality, design it exactly how you want it. And once you do that, you set everything in motion. You don't need to know how, you just need to know what. The how will come when it is appropriate for it to come. You have to stay focused in your imaginative state, stay focused in the thing that you want. Don't let anybody else get a say. They can have their opinions, it's fine, but that has nothing to do with where you're going. You're going where you say you're going. And be mindful of how you speak and what you speak about, because your body and your mind are always listening. So when you say things like, I can't, or you complain, or this or that, everything's, falling apart, this is wrong in my life, that is wrong in my life, what happens is you continue to create those things, and they continue to happen over and over and over again. When you talk about how it is, you keep it how it is. So things never change, because all the cells in your body and your brain are constantly listening and showing you the things that you are saying accordingly. The world will always reflect back to you everything that you believe to be true. So if you believe that all of these things are falling apart in your life and things don't go your way, and that's just the way that it is, this will continue like a vicious cycle to show itself over and over and over to you. And in order to change that, you have to make the declaration. You have to draw the line in the sand and put it in now, here and now, these things change. And be prepared that you're not going to get that reflection right away. There's still going to be some resonance of your old ways of thinking, your old ways of talking that are going to show up still for a little while. So don't get deterred and don't get discouraged so quickly. The biggest thing about creating a life that's new and different and of your dreams and of your liking, your number one friend is patience. You must be patient. You must show that you're serious and determined and that you have faith through your patience. When you show that you have patience and you have faith and you are not allowing any of the real life circumstances to prove you wrong, to deter you from where you're going, this is the hump that you need to get over to actually get to the other side of it. And then everything's going to go fast. But you have to get past expecting the result immediately. It's not going to happen immediately, but it can happen very quickly. Just stick to your faith. If you are having trouble with the negative thoughts coming in and the negative chatter in your head, make sure you're plugging in to videos and people that speak positively. If you don't have a lot of positive mentors in your life, then you have to find them online. You have to find them virtually. You have to listen to great audiobooks and get the positive talk, the positive chatter into your head. Another great thing that you absolutely should be doing every day is taking time to quiet your mind completely, meaning going into a meditation. And meditation doesn't just mean sitting in like a lotus position and doing like some rants or something, or what do you call them? Chants, not rants, chants. It doesn't just mean that. All of that is perfect if you do that. If you can get yourself sitting still with some spa music in your ears and just close your eyes and breathe and focus on your breathing, that's an amazing way to quiet your mind and a great meditation. But meditation can also be just being very present in those mundane activities that you do all day long. So when you're driving, when you're cooking, when you're cleaning, when you're washing the dishes, when you're walking the dog, meditate through those activities by being fully present in the moment. Notice what you notice, see what you see, smell what you smell, feel what you feel, breathe, notice your breathing, notice the colors, notice all the things that are happening in that present moment. Instead of multitasking through it or talking on the phone or listening to an audiobook, which is great to listen to audiobooks, but sometimes multitasking can actually hinder your ability to be present. So you can do all of these sort of mundane things and use those times to be in a meditative state. And doing that helps you to calm your mind, to quiet the chatter, to get the negativity out, so that you can continue to remind yourself the vision of where you're going. Imagine the life that you're creating, that you're designing, and constantly be focused on quieting the chatter. When I first started learning some of these things, I heard from Abraham Hicks. She specifically said, if you continue to talk the way that you talk, you keep everything the way that it is. So your friends say, how's your day? How's your week? And you go through the laundry list. Well, let me tell you, my washer machine broke down, my car is acting up, I got an unexpected parking ticket, and you go through the list of everything that is going wrong in your life, and we have these conversations with friends. And what it does is it continues to keep you in that vibration and keep those things from coming and happening to you all the time. So when I first heard Abraham Hicks say, stop talking about how it is, because that keeps it how it is, talk about how you want it, I didn't know what to talk about with my friends. Because when I was talking to somebody and they said, what's going on? How's life? Well, I didn't want to go into all that negative stuff, and I couldn't connect with anything different than that because that's what I was so used to talking about all the time. So I found myself in this place of like not having anything to talk about, literally. Like I became so boring. Like, who is this person? Why is she not being the friend that we're used to having? You know, I would always share my stories and do all that. And now I felt like the most boring person that had absolutely nothing to say because I was trying to focus on not being negative. But I completely missed the mark because it's not about not talking and getting silent. It's about changing your focus on the stuff that's going right in your life and talk about that. So if you had a great lunch yesterday, and like yesterday we had dinner and we used the Blue Apron recipes, but I tweaked the sauce. So the sauce that it called for, it had all the ingredients and everything, but I tweaked it and I went to my garden and I got some fresh rosemary. I chopped up extra garlic and I made like a saute. I sauteed the garlic and the rosemary in this butter and I created like this flavored butter. And then I took out the rosemary and the garlic and kept the butter, and then I sauteed the chicken in that butter, and it was so delicious and so flavorful. And then I added all the garlic and the rosemary and the sauce that the recipe came with, and I mixed that all together, and it created like this creamy sauce, and it was so good. And we had a really nice meal with our family, and it was just really good. And so describing, that, and it's not like a big deal. You know what I mean? I chopped up some garlic, I threw some seasoning. It's not anything crazy, but the fact that I can share what we had and focus on really like those great aspects of a simple meal, it places me in a different vibration than if I was to talk about how, we were cleaning out the garage and everyone was on edge and everyone was kind of arguing and bickering, like, so when someone calls me and says, hey, how was your day? Instead of sharing the story about bickering and the cleaning in the garage, I can share the story of the dinner that I made. So you can pick and choose which stories you want to share. It's not about being quiet and not saying anything. It's about being mindful and intentional in what are the things that you're talking about? What are the things that you're repeating? What are the things that you're saying about yourself? What are the things that you're saying about your spouse, about your kids? I found that people will often, always, rise and fall to your expectations of them. And so when we choose to speak poorly or negatively about the people that are in our lives, we continue to see them acting that way because of that expectation that we have and they feel. All of this is energy. And a lot of times it doesn't have to be said out loud. People can feel from you what your expectation is of them. So if you can expect the best, expect that people are doing their best, expect that they will show up as their best. See everyone around you, the people closest to you, as the best version of themselves. See it within your mind and watch them step up accordingly. It's like magic when this happens. And sometimes it's hard to do when you have a long running history of a lot of tension and conflict. But if you can practice getting into a mode of imagining how you wish things to be, expecting the best possible outcome, expecting every single person around you to show up as the best version of yourself, of themselves, and expecting your own self to show up as the best version of yourself. If you do this pre-work before going into situations, before going into your day, if you can get yourself into a quiet mindset, even for 5-10 minutes first thing in the morning, and just get quiet in your mind, and then do a little bit of imagining and envisioning of how you wish things to be, you will see that everything in your world literally melts into place and it almost becomes magical. It's amazing. And it stops happening when you stop doing it. That's one thing that I've noticed when I do it and then things get really good, what happens? You tend to stop doing the practice because things are going well, you know? And when you stop doing the practice, a lot of times this is when things go well and then bloop, we dip back down. And we find ourselves in these cycles of up and down, because when things are down, we're oftentimes looking like to fix it. Oh shoot, what do I do? Everything's falling apart. What do I do? Okay, meditate, journal, da 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 da. What do I do? But you're in a response mode. You're in a reactive mode instead of, you always want to be in a pre-active mode. So you're doing the work ahead of time. You're doing the imagination before everything goes crazy, so that you can get ahead of your creation, so that you can be the creation instead of just responding to all the things that are happening to you. Try some of these techniques out. I promise you, don't take my word for it. Try it for yourself. Test it out. And let me know. Let me know in the comments if any of this resonates. If you have any questions or ideas for future videos, or if this brings up a memory for you, please let me know. I appreciate your support so very much. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.